Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. I'm your host, John, back with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Okay.
Oh, Eeyore is
I'm
on the
not
show tonight.
okay. I am not okay, truly.
I'm going to be interviewing Eeyore tonight. I know. Well, look, this is your own fault for taking your
I
pediatrician's
know.
advice over me.
I know.
Yep,
I
all their
know.
fancy medical degrees telling you not to travel. What the hell?
I know. It was wild. I just couldn't believe that this week went the way that this week went. Like, I swear I had texted you the second that I heard from him because I had all my shit out, I had my luggage out. I was like already like Tetrising the bottle sterilizer and like packing my pump parts and like being all excited about bringing my whole family down to Wadapalooza. And I called the pediatrician and I was going to ask about like, how do I put sunscreen on my baby? Because you used to have to wait until 6 months, but
Yeah.
the AAP just changed it to 5 months. And he is 5 months. So I was just going to ask. He wouldn't even answer my sunscreen question. He would not even like entertain my like, hey, I'm going to Florida with my baby. He was like, no, you're not. Like, you are not traveling with your infant right now. You're just not. It's, COVID is too rampant and scary, and Omicron is the first variant that they're really seeing kind of like have an effect in kiddos and babies. And he was like, I will write you a note to give to your boss, like to give to Rothy to say that you can't go on this trip.
You did not give me the note. I like to point that out. I guess I'm not your boss now.
I
What the hell?
didn't. No, I texted you first though. That makes you feel
You
better.
did. I appreciated that. It is a bummer. I mean, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Like, I know there's people gonna be listening to this going, there's no worse than a cold and blah blah blah. And I whatever.
Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true for you, but that
Yeah.
clearly isn't how it is for a 5-month-old infant. And so it's clearly not with the risk. And I did get a second opinion because I was so taken aback because I have been on this journey with my pediatrician the whole time. Back at his 4-month appointment last month, I was like, hey, I'm still planning on going on this trip. And the doc was like, yep, totally cool. Like, planes are pretty safe. Air travel is not an issue. Everyone wears masks. You're going to be outdoors. You're going to do the best you can to stay safe. Like, things change every single day with this pandemic. And so things have changed in the last month. Like, I wasn't pulling anyone's leg. I have been planning on going this whole time with his blessing. And since that was so crazy, I got a second opinion from another pediatrician who's also a CrossFitter, who was like, as a fan, I'd really like to see you out there and I'd love to watch you on the broadcast. As a pediatrician, I cannot recommend that you go on this trip.
It's interesting because I've seen so many people already traveling with babies.
I know.
And I'm not
And
judging them for it.
Me either. Like, everyone's family situation is different. Everyone's tolerance level is different. And my anxiety is at an all-time high right now, of course. So, but I was like, I'm not smarter than two different doctors that gave me their advice on the same day. And God forbid anything happened, I would never forgive myself because I wanted to go,
Well,
so.
Look, I think that's fair. I mean, look, I've seen this strain run rampant through my business, and I've seen a couple of people get really, really, really sick. As a matter of fact, I've got somebody out on bereavement right now due to how bad it got. Like,
that's terrible.
So no, everyone says this is no worse than a sniffle, but sick is sick, and you can't argue with doctors. Like, I don't argue with people that have advanced medical degrees. That's my rule. So
me either. I'm not arguing with people who see like baby ICUs that are full right now. Right. That's what freaks me out. I'm not going to live my life in fear of never getting sick. But when they tell me that like a third of babies who get this end up in the ICU, I'm like, okay, I'm not going. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's not.
But I'm still so bummed. Like, I know it's the right thing to do, but I have so much FOMO.
Well, I promise to have no fun without you. That's I'm not going to do anything fun. If anyone sees me, I'm not going to smile for photos. I'm not going to do anything exciting. I might work out. I won't like it. I'll bitch the whole time, which is normal for me.
Promise.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat any good food.
No, definitely not.
That's what I promise.
No sunshine, no warm temperatures, none of that.
Well, since I'm still doing this RP thing, I actually might not eat any good food. So that works. That works out for me. Absolutely.
How's that going for you?
Good. Down 6 pounds. Just like that.
Oh my God. Is it in like a week?
Little more in a week, but not much more than that. Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, are the worst because Matt is doing it too. And I'm like half doing it. I'm doing it as much as a breastfeeding mom can do it, trying my damnedest. But Matt is truly sticking to it. And it's been a week and he's already down 4 pounds. I hate you guys.
All right.
Men are the worst.
Well, maybe we are, but I don't know. You know, I told my coach, I'm like, it's water weight and poop weight. And he's like, no, 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 no. He's like, you earned some of that. He's like, some of it's water weight,
Yeah.
but you've earned some of it. And I will say, like, I think it's washing dishes weight is what it is. Cause my kitchen is a disaster area, man. Like I'm washing dishes every 30 minutes. It's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I know you can meal prep and I meal prep. It's still a mess all the time.
Yeah.
All
well, meal
the
prep
time.
means you just have to do dishes on one day instead of every single day.
It's just, it's weird. There's like this kind of Zen-like calmness in knowing what your next meal is for the whole day. Like your whole day's planned out. So I literally give no thought. It's kind of like going to a closet. It's like if you're Steve Jobs, you go to your closet and it's all jeans and black turtlenecks. That's what it feels like. You know, like you've got everything laid out. You know exactly what you're doing. You know, that part, I really kind of like the organization and structure of it. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to eat 6 times a day, which includes the shakes, you know, like I find myself at works like today, I found myself like kind of behind my schedule because I'm working and I'm busy and you don't think about it. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And then I realize that I'm an hour behind, you know?
Yeah. And you can move. I mean, you're not supposed to, but you can move stuff around if you need to. Like the timing is like the 20% of it, and the nutrition is like the 80% of it. So you can move stuff around. We should get them to sponsor these shows.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
What the hell? We're just out here being like
worst podcasters ever. I paid to do this, and I'm talking about them on air. So it's the worst ever. Damn it. I'll be honest, like, you know, and I would say this about their program. I don't put a lot of stock into the timing as a huge thing to causing you to lose weight. I understand the science behind it, or the, you know, the supposed science, but I've read a lot of science the other direction too. For me, I'm following it only because, look, I paid for it. I want to give the program its due diligence and do it the way it's prescribed. And I do think there's a level of commitment. If you commit to these blocks of times with these certain macros for each meal, you're more committed to not cheat on it in other areas. That makes sense. You know,
totally.
And so for me, it's just really about structure, organization, like doing it. And I don't know, you know, a week and a half in, it's all right. I'm kind of dreading the trip a little bit in that regard of all the planning I'm going to have to do tomorrow to make sure that I eat properly while I'm in Miami and, you know, carry snack bars with me and all that fun stuff, but it'll work out.
Yeah. Carry jerky. That's a good one.
I've already learned all that. I've become real good at finding foods I like that fit into this. Like it took me 2 days of egg whites and chicken rice to go, yeah, this isn't going to cut it. To start finding different lean meats and different veggies and different carbs and start mixing combinations together that I really, really like. And it's working.
My go-tos when I'm really following it well are do you like cauli rice? You either love or hate cauliflower in all of its forms.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, it's not my favorite.
Okay. I like it because it doesn't taste like anything. You can make it taste like anything. So my like go-to has always been like a big bowl of cauli rice, which is like you get really full and it's like not big on the carb scale by any means, with like a ground meat, whatever. If you've got fat in your diet, use beef. If not, like use turkey or chicken, whatever. And tomato sauce. Like find a yummy tomato sauce that you really like. I mean, that is just, it's so filling. Like there's ways to do RP where you're not hungry, and that's the killer for me, is if I'm hungry. And then like also similarly like taco salads, where you have like a bed of greens and ground meat and salsa, which is effectively like kind of free. You can eat like a shitload of salsa before it ends up on any of your points. So,
well, one thing that I do, this is all of a sudden, this is a nutrition show.
I know this needs to be your other podcast.
I guess. I eat a lot of salads. I have this really awesome, I should send you some, this really awesome olive oil and vinegar that's flavored, pear flavored. And it's an unbelievable
pear?
Yeah, it's a great, like mixed. It's this great flavor. And so I'll make a huge salad and just 1 tablespoon of oil, which gets you exactly to your fat that you should have, you know, and a little vinegar, and toss it. And, you know, you instead of doing 2 cups of greens, I'll do 4. Like I'll do a huge salad and that'll fill you up, for a long period of time. You get in green vegetables and kind of help you through, so.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's ways to do it. When you're traveling, it's hard. You got to eyeball shit.
Yeah.
Are you going to bring a scale with you, like a food scale?
No. I've got all the podcast stuff with me. I don't have room for a food scale, but
Wait,
it's funny you say that. I was thinking I actually might bring my cup measures though, because I've gotten pretty good at like
yep.
eyeballing stuff, but cup measures don't take up much space and I can definitely get those in the
No.
suitcase. So,
Okay, let me tell you a funny food scale story really fast, and then we can stop talking about nutrition. So 2 years ago now, right? Because the pandemic's been ruining our lives for 2 years. Steph and I went to the Mayhem competition together, and I was covering it for Morning Chalk Up at the time, and Steph was competing, and I was also like her coach, quote unquote, for the weekend.
right.
So I was like making her protein shakes and stuff, and we were sharing a room. And for our trip, since we were both counting our macros, I bought a travel food scale, right? A
Right.
travel food scale. So it's like a little square and it like has a little lid and it folds over. And I just searched on Amazon for a travel food scale and it showed up at my house. And my husband, the pharmacist, unloaded my travel food scale and looked at me and was like, "Why the fuck did you buy a drug scale?" Because it is like
Right.
legit like what people use
Yeah.
to like weigh out small amounts of weed, I guess. I don't know, or
Yeah.
coke. I'm clearly not a drug lord, so I don't know. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Niki, this is literally a drug scale. Like, what the fuck are you and Steph about to do in Tennessee?"
You're
I
like
was like,
cocaine. What do you
"No."
think we're about to do? Like, come
I'm like,
on.
I'm
Like,
about to weigh out my tortilla chips is what I'm gonna do.
yeah, this is how you get skinny. Cocaine and meth. It works great. You lose all that pesky tooth weight. You get really thin from the coke. It's perfect.
All the extra weight from that skin on your face,
Yeah.
things you don't need.
It's great. It's good. It's good
But yeah,
stuff.
that happened. So Steph and I definitely promise you didn't do drugs
Yeah,
at Mayhem. No,
definitely.
definitely not.
Well, let's talk about the events of the day. The world is still, I shouldn't say the world, CrossFit in all its neurosis is still going crazy over
I
Dave getting
know.
fired. Like people
I
still just
know.
hitting their keyboards and blowing up every post, article, YouTube, whatever, Reddit, anywhere you can find it. They just love talking about it. So much fun.
Rose's Instagram. Did you see that?
Oh,
He
yeah,
like
yeah.
posted a
Oh,
picture of him playing in the snow with his son, and everyone in
oh.
the comments just like freaking out on him.
I I don't even know where to start with this. First of all, I don't know Eric at all. We met him once, but I don't know him. He wouldn't know me from Adam probably. And I just want to message him like, bro, what are you thinking? Like this can't be your first. Like you're welcome to post on Instagram, but you got to know it's going to get blown up. Like people are just stupid. And I felt bad for him. I don't. People shouldn't blow him up, but they're going to. And
Mm,
I feel bad because it's a great picture of him and his kid, and they're out having a snowball fight, and people are in the comment section roasting them. I'm like, you guys just need to like leave that where it belongs. At least leave it on the
yeah.
CrossFit page. Um, the whole
Or on
thing's
Reddit.
yeah, the whole thing's been so weird. Let's break it down. I'll tell you the weird parts
Okay.
I thought have been weird on CrossFit side, and I guess we can talk about both. But I appreciate what they're trying to do. Like that. Did you see the games page is like a new era begins, and they did that post and they did a tweet to go along with it.
I did
And
see that. Yeah.
they're trying to turn the page quickly, and I understand that, but you also have to know that's going to generate a lot of like you almost just have to turn the comments off if you're going to do that. And it felt too soon to
Mm.
me, if I'm being honest. Like,
They
I don't know.
also did a post, and I think it might have only been on Twitter. I'm not sure, but like praising Dave and thanking him for his work
Well, that
and
was on Insta
like
too.
basically
Yeah.
that was on Instagram too.
Hmm.
But and like
Yeah.
addressing it head on. It wasn't like they just ignored everything and they were like a new chapter. Like they
Right.
did come out and try to say that and said that thing about how Eric is meeting with people and like discussing stuff with athletes, which I thought was such a normal thing to write. But then everyone in the comments was like, shouldn't you have done that ahead of time? And it was like, I just kind of feel like CrossFit, no matter what they say right now, and Rosa, no matter what he posts right now, is kind of like damned either way, no matter what,
Oh,
no matter if
absolutely.
they addressed it well or if they didn't, or if they ignored it, or if they didn't, like, it's messy. People are going to
Well,
freak out either way.
it's not as, I don't think it's as messy as people think it is. I know your point. If I had been running CrossFit, I would, that initial statement they did, I think they should have said, listen, for Dave's privacy, we can't tell you any more than this. As an employer, we can't tell you why we fired him other than he's no longer with the company. If he wants to tell you, that's on him, but we can't share that information with you. Like, he's got a right to privacy. And I think people need to
Yeah.
get off this high horse that they're entitled to know why CrossFit fired him. First of all, it's probably boring as hell. Like, I still think we were right on our last episode that this is just a natural changing of the guard. They should have done it a year ago, but they didn't have their feet under them, so they couldn't do it then. And so now they're doing it now. I still believe that, but no one's entitled to know except for Dave and, the HR team and, the employers at CrossFit. Those are the only people entitled to know unless Dave wants to share it. It's really that simple.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think that the community is owed anything by an explanation. And I think that's kind of a lot of what I've been seeing is like, as a member of this community or as an affiliate owner or as a competitor, people are writing, I'm entitled to know what's happening. And I'm just kind of like, why?
Yeah, no, you're
Like,
not.
are you still going to go work out today?
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody messaged me today on that and they're like, well, and their point, I understand their frustration. They're like, look, we haven't heard from Eric in 4 months. And the first thing we hear is they're firing Dave. And so now we're wondering what the heck's going on. And I think that's a really short-sighted vision for anyone out there thinking what's going on at CrossFit. They're acting like there's nothing going on behind the scenes at CrossFit. Like, no one else has been hired. No one else is running the ship. Like, this business is moving forward quick. They're doing a lot of stuff that people aren't giving them credit for. And so I think part of it is people aren't looking. And so then when you do get a big announcement and it's something that they don't agree with, they're like, we haven't heard anything. Screw these guys. It's going to hell.
Right. Right. That's entirely objective and true.
But I also think it does highlight a ongoing problem that HQ has had for years, by the way, not under Eric. Well, maybe still under Eric, but it was the same thing under Greg. Like, communication to the affiliates has been kind of crappy for a decade, and they just haven't quite figured that out yet. It's not to say they're not addressing it. They have not figured it out. And I think the affiliates still feel the stress of that. And I think that's partly why people are frustrated. And then you throw in, Dave's story and Instagram looks like a bad breakup, it's like some, like he broke up with his girlfriend and now he's getting back at him by saying how much everybody else loves him, and I'm not making fun of him. I would do the same thing. Like, I think that's the natural reaction for people, but it's not, it's not helping by any stretch of the imagination.
I think what makes this whole thing tough is the very unique and like community driven vibe that is infused in all things CrossFit, even though it's a corporation, even though it's a brand, even though it's privately owned or, board run or whatever it is. Like, there's just this vibe of community of like, this is ours. This belongs to everyone. This is driven by community. What other business model in the world, what their franchise model do owners truly need to be like present and a part of the functioning company? I mean, like the ideal business model for an owner is like, you put people in place to run your business and you step back and make money and it's great. And like, that will never work in a CrossFit affiliate model ever. The owner needs to be involved. And so it's just, it's a weird, I don't even know how you would put it. It's just like a weird expectation that people have in every level of this company, from the affiliates to the games, to the board, to the executives, whatever, that it's like community run. And so I feel like they have that entitlement to the information and the processes and what's going on. It's not accurate. We truly don't have that entitlement. We don't have the right to any of it. But I think that what makes it complicated as a brand is that everything is sort of infused with that vibe.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. Here's where I think part of the disconnect lies. I think because people are paying an affiliate fee, they think they are entitled to more information, right? I get that. But that isn't what your affiliate fee gets you. Like, what happened here is the director of a sport got fired, and a normal business, and CrossFit is not a normal business, and they did not handle this like a normal business. A normal business would have come in and said, hey, the director is gone. Here's who he's replaced with. And here's what's next. Here's what next steps look like. really all they did was said, Dave's gone, Justin's the new guy, let's go. Right. And no one knows Justin. So, or, the insiders know him, but affiliates don't know him, kind of
Yeah.
everyday athletes don't know who the heck Justin is. And they don't know if he's going to be programming the games or just running them or what he's going to be doing. And so I think that, creates a lot of ambiguity for them. I think they're also losing sight of what the affiliate model does. Like when people pay an affiliate fee, they think it gets them something. And for years, people have struggled to say what the value of that affiliate fee is. For my $3,000, what am I getting? Right. And I understand that too. I think CrossFit needs to continue to do a much better job of defining what that affiliate fee gets them. But I do think the people paying the affiliate fee need to recognize that it's a ridiculously low price of entry. And if you were, let's say, it's a bad analogy, but let's say you're going to go franchise a McDonald's, right? Or any fast food place, you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in a franchise fee. Right. And then that would entitle you to training, HR, products, services, machines, ice cream machines that don't work, all that stuff.
No, literally. I was
and
talking to my sister-in-law about this over Christmas because I was like, I think that they should open a Starbucks in the tiny town in Maine that they live in. And I can't remember exactly which one, but she said that she and like a couple of girlfriends had looked into like opening like an affiliate, like coffee shop, sandwich shop, or whatever it was. It wasn't a Starbucks, but it was something else. And they needed $100,000.
Yeah. That's the
I was
point.
like, what? Are you kidding me?
That's exactly the point.
Right.
And, so like, what should you get for $3,000? And again, that was generated by Glassman, not Eric and then the new regime, and so I think the new regime has started to do things that will generate more money for the company and streamline the business for the affiliates. We've seen it most recently, maybe with the affiliate programming. This is one that's most recent, and I know they've been doing some work on back end services and, some other things. So I think we'll continue to see that built out, but it just, it feels like it can't come fast enough. So every time something like this happens, people lose their minds, and I get that, but people need to calm down a little bit. That's my point.
I agree. I agree on every level. I mean, just think like what other brand out there like has a new owner and then everyone associated with the brand like knows and cares. And then that new owner goes on like podcasts about the company. Like that would never, if like, I don't know. I mean, this is a bad example, but like if Nike had a new president all of a sudden, most of us who are fans of Nike would be like, cool.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving on. Like, and I'm not the biggest like sneakerhead, but like I have plenty of Nike shit. I wouldn't listen to a podcast with the new Nike guy. I just wouldn't. But like everyone in CrossFit was all about this change and is all about everything that's going on in the company. And I just think that's the model is so different with our brand.
Well, that is an interesting complaint that I have with CrossFit. And, I don't want people to think we're just out here shilling for Eric because I don't really have an opinion on him. I haven't seen enough to have an opinion. But the one thing I have seen that I don't think they figured out yet, that if I could give them advice to tell them to immediately start working on, is they need to understand that this is not Nike or any other type of corporation. Like the levers they're pulling are right, meaning they're trying to generate more revenue. They're trying to move into new continents and open new affiliates and drive the business forward and invest in the game so they can, grow this business quickly to make money for the investors and make the affiliates a better place and blah, 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 blah. What they have yet to figure out though, or really understand, is that everyone's an owner. It isn't just the affiliate owners. Like all of us, we pay a lot of money to set foot in these affiliates every single day, and we're all invested in it more so than people that wear Nikes or whatever else is out there. And we all really, really care. And it's the lack of communication out to the field and the affiliates and the people who feel like they're owners that's ginning up this drama every time something happens. And so they need a better communications plan. If they have not invested in a fantastic communications director, and I don't know who that is. So if they happen to follow me and listen, sorry if I'm blowing you up here, but like, you got to figure out this communication strategy because it's going to be vital to their future growth if they don't fix it. It's like this, I get that this was sudden and they'll always be sudden, but there probably should have been, hey, here's what's next for the games, which is what I want us to talk about next anyway. But it would have been, there are so many spectacular people within the sport. If they had just come in and said, hey, Dave's gone, we know that hurts, it sucks, we want to recognize the great work he's done, but here's what the future looks like, and here are all the spectacular people that are going to be a part of it. I think reasonable people would have been like, okay, that makes sense, and they would have felt better about it, because there are so many people that are known and respected and great at this, that it doesn't seem so scary when you look, like I've got all their names written down here in front of me, and it looks pretty cool to me when I'm looking at it going,
Ooh.
if these people were doing it, I'd be really excited.
Okay. I want to hear what that list is. But first, I just want to say, I think that you hit the nail on the head when you just said that we're all invested in this. That's the best way to describe it. We are all so invested in everything that happens with this company. And that's kind of the word I was looking for like the vibe of the community that's infused within this brand. That's a good way of putting it. All right. What's your list look like?
Well, look, here's what I think should be next. I don't know what is next. I don't have any insider information. I have not talked to anyone but you, and we haven't even really talked about it.
And I have nothing either.
I haven't even talked to other athletes, or like even in DMs. Like, I've just been thinking, like, if I were running the business, what would I do? If it were me, I'd take all the control out of one person's hand and make a team. I'd have a team of people programming the games. And, you can tier them, have someone someone would need to be in charge, and maybe that's Justin, I don't know, but I would have a team, and I just started scribbling down names of people who would be great for that team. I had James Hobart, Spencer Hendel, Nicole Carroll, who is a rock star, in my opinion, at everything she does. Austin, how do you pronounce his last name?
Maliolo.
Yep. Spieler. I mean, these are all like rock stars, right? Matt Chan, Annie Sakamoto, Jeff Bridges, Josh Bridges. Sorry, not Jeff Bridges. He'd be terrible.
Oh, sorry. And I instantly was like, yup.
Well, Jeff Bridges would be great.
Cool. Bring it on.
And then you could honestly even look at, some of the most recent retired athletes. You've got Scott Pinchek's terrific. Dave Smith is terrific. Hell, you could probably talk Rich Froning into retiring at some point and doing this. Like, you just think of all these people that are so spectacular in sport, that have such a deep history of programming and training and competing, and have seen this live. You can't tell me that group of people can't be as good or better than a single person who's been programming this. You'll never convince me of it.
Yeah. I do think you need one person in charge.
Sure.
I do think that things get messy when you have a group, if there's not someone who always, like, the final call defaults to, or someone who has to think outside of the realm of just the program itself. Like JB Justin Berg has always had a hand in making sure that, operations are going to plan, that the broadcast is going to plan. Like, so much goes into programming the game side of things that is outside of the workouts themselves. So having someone at the helm who understands all of that functionality and how it all works together is super important. But yeah, I think that the people that you listed would be perfect. I would even maybe recommend some positions that might not be, like, maybe you're not building the board forever, but you're at least building the board for this year, or building that group for this year. And if it includes more recent athletes that are not competing for whatever reason, I think that would be helpful. Like, I think of Steph. This is the second time in this podcast. I miss my friend. But Steph, who, was a competing and active athlete for many, many years, who's taken a step back to go to PA school, or any of the athletes who might not be competing because they're like new parents this year, or, like people who have like really been in it, who have, think of the demo team. Those people who go out and test and maybe just miss the games, or they haven't gone, for whatever reason. I mean, Allison Scudds is a great example. Like, she's an excellent athlete who hadn't qualified, who was on the demo team last year. Like, maybe she could have a hand in programming. I could see that working out too.
Well, look, I think people forget that, when Dave would program the games, it wasn't like he would just go to a whiteboard, write up a workout and go, all right, this is what we're doing. He would write it and then he'd bring in that demo team and they practice it and then they change it and then they practice it
Oh,
again.
a million times. Oh, they would change it.
Yeah.
John, they would change it up until the moment we were about to walk out onto the field of play. I had memorized and taken notes on workouts that changed the moment I stepped out onto the field of play because for whatever reason they weren't right yet.
Yeah. Well, I guess my point to that is, so you can't, you put a good team together and let them do the same thing. And to your point, you got one person heading it, or a couple people doing the programming and some of these people testing and some bringing in other athletes to test. And you've got other things going on here, differing opinions. I got to believe you're going to come out with a really good product. And that's not to say that, Dave had his whiffs, for the record. Like he didn't,
Sure.
he didn't have perfect programming, even with all that testing. And he's a great, amazing at what he does. So I'm not jabbing him there. It's just, everybody makes mistakes and this team might too, but I have to believe the finished product would be every bit as good with this much talent. But
okay. I have a different suggestion of someone
sure.
to put on the list. I would 100% watch a CrossFit Games programmed by Pat Sherwood.
Yeah, he'd be great as a part of it,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. I guess that's the whole point to this. So you think of like what's next for the games. I wish CrossFit had come out and said, imagine if they'd come out and said, Dave isn't here. We respect what he's done. Thank you for everything you've done to support, the games. You're great. Blah, 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 blah. Next up, Nicole Carroll and Pat Sherwood would be programming the games. People would have been like, okay, done. Let's go. Like I really believe people would have said, all right, that makes sense. We've got some terrific people coming in that will carry on this legacy,
Yeah, it probably would have. I mean, I'm not convinced that people wouldn't have still been shitheads about the whole thing because you really can't please everyone. You just can't.
Sure.
But yeah, it would have been a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. Probably people had a little bit more context. Not that we deserve it, like not that we're entitled to it, but I think it would have changed the outcome of this. I don't know, backlash.
Well, I don't know if anyone from HQ is going to listen to this. I'm still convinced only my mom and your mom listen, but
fact.
But if anyone happens to hear it, if I were them, I'd release Dave's open workouts right now. Swear to God, I would. I'd release them, say, hey, everybody, go do these. They're great. We think Dave did a great job for us in this capacity. Everybody take a look at his great work. Feel free to go do them on your own. And then I would say, here's who's actually doing the open workouts. And to your point, give it to Pat Sherwood or Nicole or Austin or James or Spencer or whoever, and announce that too at the same time. Tell them, here's what's coming up. And I think you do have to have several names in the mix because it would be pretty hard for people to say, oh, this open really sucked programmed by these legends, like you're also doing it.
Right.
You're doing it because A, it's the right thing to do, but B, you're also, defending your business. That I think it's really short-sighted to say we don't have brilliant people besides Dave that can do this. We really do. Like there are tons of brilliant people that can do this and can create a great open. It's only 3 weeks, for God's sakes,
You know who else would be really great at programming this kind of stuff?
Who?
Facundo.
Wait, who? Oh, Facundo. Yes. We could do all the CrossFit announcements from Cracker Barrel.
We would do that 100%. Cracker Barrel home office.
22.1 is eating grits and biscuits for time.
I mean, I don't think you'd find complaints in the CrossFit community.
I think that's an open. I could actually finish top 10 and I'd make quarterfinals in that bitch. Man.
I would actually RX it this year.
Oh, I would RX that hard right now. Oh man.
You're so hungry.
I am.
Grits they do not fit your macros.
We can't even talk about food right now, Nikki. I don't even like.
Sorry.
I'm literally sitting on the couch the other day and my youngest comes in and she opens up a little paper bag. She'd been out with a friend and she comes in, she opens it up and she pulls out the most delicious looking croissant you've ever seen. That's the size of bean. It's like a 10-pound croissant. God. And she looks at me and I look at her and she's like, would you like a bite? And I'm like, what are you doing? No. Why are you offering me delicious carbs right now? She's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Like, it's not even the carbs in the croissant that'll kill you. It's the fat. Isn't that sad?
It looks so delicious too. It looks
I
so,
know.
and I know I'm gonna get nasty messages. Carbs aren't the enemy. In this case, they would have been, because that thing weighed like 10
Right.
pounds and I would have smashed it. I would have smashed it.
All food outside of pre-planned macros are the enemy when you're counting
Yeah.
macros.
So yeah. So anyway, back to the
Well,
story. So yeah, I don't know who they will get or what they will do, but I think they've got a ton of options that people are just not thinking about in their anger. And I think it's time to let that go and go, man, like none of us, I shouldn't say none of us, almost no one started CrossFit because of Dave Castro. I'm sure some people did. I didn't. I didn't know who the hell that guy was for 5 years. Never heard of him. Didn't care. And I'm in there doing box jumps and Murph and
yeah, I
Fran
hear
and
what you're
all those
saying.
horrible workouts without ever happening to know who he was. And by the way, I didn't know who Greg was either for about 5 years. It's like it didn't matter to me. And I think the bulk of the CrossFitters are like that.
Yeah, I think we can't forget about, the really critical work that's happening in the gyms day in and day out. That is the heart and soul of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Whoever programs the games, it's a big deal to us because we're in this very invested community, as you
Right.
said. But it won't go to shit. Like we're still going to get great people. We're still going to get the games. We're still going to get the ultimate test of fitness. And I do think Dave will be missed. I personally will miss him a lot. I liked what he did for the sport. I liked his brain at the helm of that programming. I liked the villainy that he put on in
Right.
every open announcement. Like I liked everything about that. So I am sad about it, but
I
I don't pretend to understand what's happening on the inside of this giant corporation. And I have faith that we'll end up in a spot that we're all still really enjoying watching a competition and going to the gym every single day and
yeah.
doing workouts.
I will miss having to go to my burner account to look at his account to see what CrossFit is doing since he
You have a
blocked me.
Finsta?
Of course, I have a burner account. Who does? Everyone has a burner account. Come on.
I mean, I literally have a burner account for my Bernese Mountain Dogs, but
Yeah, I have a burner account, so I
but
can go look at so I can look at what everybody else is doing and not have to worry about it. So yeah, I'll
fair.
totally miss that. I will say the one thing I keep seeing over and over, I wanted to talk about this next, is I saw one this afternoon actually. Somebody say, the brand is dead. I'm like, are you kidding me?
What?
Like
What does that mean?
the brand is dead. Like CrossFit's dying and it's going to go away, and that they're crippling the business. And so I was doing some research to see like what it looked like. And Morning Chalk Up actually fortunately for me, had an article, so I didn't have to do much research, talking about how much the brand grew this year. And the numbers were really cool to me. So the high watermark for paid affiliates, and it never occurred to me there are paid and unpaid affiliates, but an unpaid affiliate would be like in a jail or a charity or something like
Yeah.
that. Right. It just never occurred to me there were many of those, but apparently there's a lot, the high water mark was 11,715 for paid affiliates. They're currently at 10,800. So we're under that high water mark. But at the start of 2021, they were at 9,400. So they've grown 1,400 affiliates in 2021, and that's net. So keep in mind that counts all the affiliates that closed over that time frame. So they actually they've definitely opened more than 1,400, because affiliates have closed in that same time frame, like mine closed in that same time frame, right? So
I
I
wonder how
think,
many of those like disaffiliated when all of 2020's stuff happened and then came back.
well, look, I think, I was just doing like some kind of simple math. If their high water mark was 11.7, that would have been under Greg, and then they're at 9,400. So that's a couple of thousand that went away. That would also include closures. So I had
Yeah.
heard, and again, this is like, this isn't real data, just like people talking, that it was like around 1,000 or so disaffiliated. And then you got to imagine the rest are ones that close. And a lot of CrossFit's closed. Like, we got to admit, like, I liked Greg's model to some degree, but he'd let you open that thing up across the street from another one. He didn't care. Like,
Right.
and a lot of those go out of business. And I've seen a bunch go out of business, so I don't think that's an insignificant number to say that, it wasn't the disaffiliation that caused that number to drop as much as it was, the pandemic kicked in 2020.
Yeah.
I was saying, you guys can go back and verify this in previous episodes, that we'd lose 30% of the business due to the pandemic. And my math's pretty good. When you look at this, it's
Yeah.
20% or so. So my point is adding 1,400 new affiliates net, in a year is a really, really good number and indicates that they will probably get back to that high water mark in 2022 if they keep going this. And they said they're targeting 4 markets. And I felt really smart after our last episode. The top one was China, which we said on the
Hey,
last
yeah.
episode, but it was also Russia, India, and Japan, which are all real emerging markets for them. And, you think, you're talking billions of people in those countries. It's, a real opportunity for them to grow this business, and which will then in turn give more money to put back into the affiliate model and to continue to grow it. It isn't like they're just going to pocket all this money and run away, so
Is that high watermark worldwide?
yes.
Nice. That's very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool to
it's,
be a part of something so big.
and what was interesting from reading the article, and a lot of this is them telling Morning Chocolate what they're going to do. So I take both sources with a grain of salt to some degree. Is that they're trying to reach 100 million people. Like that's their North Star.
Right.
They want to get have 100 million people doing this, which means they're going to have to do far more than just have affiliates. You do have to build out the games. You probably have to build out some sort of this affiliate programming. I have to imagine at some point is going to go into the home, and they'll sell it to individuals like me who have killer home gyms. And I would imagine at some point that comes with an app and streaming and blah, 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 blah. And so I think my point is that the death of the brand is greatly exaggerated. Like if this company went public, I'd buy stock right now, right this second, because I feel like they're going to grow and they're going to grow big. But what do I know? I just do banking for a living. So I probably don't know at all.
Yeah. I mean, what do I know? I just do branding for a living, and I don't think that the brand is going anywhere, but it's not like that's my area of expertise or anything.
I do think I'll say it again. I do think they've got to figure out this communication piece, or it's going to make all of this harder for them. I think that's still a huge weakness, that they don't understand the power of what happens is you and I texting, and then we text somebody else. And this isn't like us texting other media sources, but like examples when all this blew up, I'm sending the memes I will never post to you, Sean, and Tommy. Right. That's unique to us as a friend group, but it's not unique to the community. The community, every gym out there has a friend group that has a CrossFit thread.
Yep. 100%.
And they're usually talking about workouts and times and weights and whatever. But when this shit goes down, this is what they're talking about. And that's why CrossFit has to get this communication thing together, because it escalates very quickly and it's hard to recover from that. It really is.
Yeah. Communications, for me, I think the future growth depends also on like a global marketing plan. And I obviously am biased because that's what I do for a living. But I think that without the proper outreach, without the proper prospecting, getting our message, getting the opportunity in front of people who don't already live near a gym or walk by a gym every day or have friends who go to a gym, that is going to be the only way to continue growing to get to 100 million people. Right. And there's not right now, all the marketing comes from the affiliates themselves. If you're a gym owner, you got to figure out how to run your own Facebook ads to get people in your door. And I think lending support to affiliates in that respect, and then coming up with maybe some sort of global marketing plan that they can piggyback off of, so that they don't have to do their own awareness in the prospecting, so that people globally are aware of CrossFit. It's a much easier lift for someone to say, come into my gym, than to explain off the bat what CrossFit is to someone who's never heard it before. So that, again, biased because I do that stuff, but I think that that is a huge part of growing in the future, is coming up with that global marketing plan and figuring out how to do the same on the sports side of things, because we know that people are inspired by the heroes that we watch at the CrossFit Games, and there's got to be a way to get that in front of the everyday masses. Obviously the CBS deals and the network primetime deals that they've done in the past help with that. So more of that and more accessible viewing, that'll be key.
I think this global marketing plan and strategy is also going to require them to explain to the current affiliates and the current community why they're wanting to go into these markets. Like I had somebody blow me up last week about China, like saying, hey, CrossFit should have better morals than getting in bed with China. I'm like, this isn't about Yeah, I mean, it's a communist country, right? And my point
Right.
is,
But
it's
what about
like,
all the people there that want fitness?
well, my point though, Nikki, is that, we've built this, or CrossFit has built this brand as a mostly American brand. I realize there's a lot of European affiliates, but 70% are in the US, right? And it's been primarily driven through first responders and military who are, and the first
Mhm.
responders are usually former military.
Yeah.
And, you look at this list of countries, China, Russia, and India. I'm not sure I'd put those three on my top three of people that the US has had great relationships with militarily, right? India's not bad, but China and Russia for
Well,
sure. And,
yeah.
so my
Some
point is
history.
like, yeah, there is some history there. And so I think the point is you need a good marketing strategy and a good, good communication to the affiliates to say exactly what you just said, which this isn't about politics. This is about anyone who is living and breathing and has a heartbeat deserves to have a good, healthy life and have happiness.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
we can help bring that to them in a non-political way. And yes, that may mean, we have to play politics in those markets. And again, I don't want to get too deep in this, but we do that in the US.
Yeah, of
Right now,
course.
all your affiliates fight local battles around noise ordinances and space requirements, whether you can run on the sidewalks. Like, I can't tell you how many
Hmm.
affiliates I've heard,
Zoning.
yeah, battling zoning rights. Like, and CrossFit has always fought for those and helped where they could. And, I just think that the more communication, the better here, and helping
Agreed.
people really understanding why we're looking to do it. And I also think some, everyone needs to, like I said to the guy that blew me up over it, he's like, we got to have better morals than, taking money from China. I'm like, did you send that to me on your MacBook or your iPhone?
Yeah,
Like, which,
seriously.
like, come on, we all buy from China, like to some
Of
degree,
course.
and,
Yeah.
I don't judge people for that. Like, and if you have a way to not do it, hey, good for you. Like, everyone's got to live their life, I guess. But I just think, the more communication, the better. And really understanding what the community is looking for is going to help them in the long run for sure. But
Yeah,
they don't listen to me,
for
Nikki,
sure.
at all.
Hey, me either. Not a one time. So
They listen. Yeah,
I
you.
would love to do but CrossFit should hire my company to do their marketing. I would set them straight.
Yeah, well, they're not hiring me anytime soon. I can tell you that right now. They're like, yeah, let's ask the meme guy what we should do. Let's ask him.
I mean, if they only knew how good the meme guy was at business, just
Yeah,
saying.
well, they don't need to know. It's top secret. Well, I'm still excited about the future. I mean, I'll say it again.
Same.
I feel bad that that it all went down this way. I do really like Dave. I don't know him. I know a bunch of people that know him, and everyone that I've talked to that knows him really likes him. And
Yeah.
so I don't have any grudge against him other than him blocking me. But that's actually more funny than it is a grudge. Like, it's just kind of humorous. But I don't think we're going to be lost. And I think he'll go off and do amazing things, whatever that may be. I don't think it'll be
Yeah.
Rogue for whatever that's worth, but we'll see.
I don't know what he would do at Rogue. Like what?
Oh, I'm so tired of hearing about people who go, oh, go do Rogue. It's already better than the games. I'm like, so are you guys saying Dave's the best or Rogue is better than Dave? Like, I don't understand. And by the
Oh, you
way,
mean program for
yeah,
the
they're
Rogue
all like, go do,
Invitational?
go program
Oh,
or run the road games because people have such respect for what a great event it is. Which, by the way, it's programmed by Spieler and Josh, I think, to some degree. And it's
yeah.
like if those legends can do it, and it was a great event. I think we'll all agree that Wadapalooza this week, which you won't be at, is going to be a great
Hmm.
event. Somebody program that, and it's going to turn out great. And
Yeah.
you know, I guess the point is I'll miss him, but I think we got talent and we'll be just fine.
Yeah. Agreed.
So maybe they'll have me do it. What do you think?
Yes. 100%. It would
Day
be all
one,
like
assault bike is
air bike
banned.
sprints. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No assault bike. Done.
None.
Done.
No, I assumed you would program tons of assault bike because it'd be for everyone else. It wouldn't be for you.
Oh, good point. I've been on the assault bike a lot lately. A ton,
Yeah.
actually.
Feel that.
As a matter of fact, I haven't even told you this, so this will be a surprise to you in the air. We're gonna have some guests from Assault on. I may interview one or two of them while I'm in Wadapalooza, since I'll be doing interviews by myself.
Call me in, FaceTime me in.
But they're doing this new fit program that I've been piloting for them. We've been the beta test for, and we're gonna get a couple of their coaches that do that,
Oh,
that actually
cool.
run the
That's awesome.
classes and have them talk about it so everybody have a better understanding of, what this fit program looks like. It's hardcore, man. And if you have an assault bike at
Dang.
home, it'll absolutely be worth the money. It's hard. I mean, and I feel like it's kept my it's one of those things that, like, it's hard to, in a home gym, to get the same motivation to go kick your own ass,
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and having them on the screen to yell at you makes me work harder. So I like it. It'll
Hell
be fun.
yeah. Wait, in that vein, I didn't tell you this either. I bought a Peloton the
What?
other day. Yeah,
Oh, look at
not a
you.
bike, not a bike, a Peloton treadmill.
Oh, I didn't even know they had one. Look at you.
Yeah, it's rad. It is
Nice.
rad. I just like am having a hard like I wanted a treadmill for so long. I had my old shitty one from my uncle's like house that was like 30 years old in my basement, and it like was stuck on one program.
Right.
So it would like go uphill and downhill and uphill and downhill, and I could not do anything about it no matter what. And I've still been running on it since I was pregnant. And eventually I was like, fuck this. I like need
Nice.
my own because I love a good running workout. I don't like just running. Like I'm not a runner by
Yeah.
any means, but I love a good running workout, like good music, sprint, and then elevation, and then whatever. And it's just been harder and harder to get to the gym with the baby. And on super cold days, obviously you can't run outside. So I did it. I bit the bullet. She'll be here in like a month.
Did I tell you I got an assault runner?
What?
Yes. So I should have led with this story because this is a good story. So, for those that don't know, CrossFit Cliffside closed, and the twins had a dispute. The landlord at Cliffside sucked from day
That's a
one.
bummer.
Like, the
That's a
first day we
bummer.
started doing wall balls and turning on loud music, they started raising hell. So when their lease came up, he wasn't going to renew it. He was like, nope, not renewing it. And so they have to go find a new space. And because real estate's at an all-time high, there's nothing in this area. So they found a space that's way out of town and way too far for me. And, no one that's going to this gym is going to drive to that space. So they had to close Cliffside, and they're selling all the equipment. And, so I messaged Sax and I'm like, hey, well, you got the assault runner, we sell it to me. He's like, sure. So I knew I'd get a discount. I'm like, but you're going to have to bring it over and help me get it in the basement, because that's not happening with just me. So him and Spencer come over and they bring this thing, and Spencer disassembles the arm of it, but it's still the body of it. Watching the fifth fittest man on the planet try to get an assault runner into my basement would have been worth double the price I paid for that thing, because he was struggling his fit ass for about 20 minutes trying to get that thing downstairs. Like, I told them both, I'm like, if one of you guys gets injured moving an assault runner into my basement, I'm going to roast you for all of eternity for this.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I would have felt so bad, but they got it down
Oh
there
my
and it works
God.
great. I did a running WOD 2 days ago. I did 30-minute AMRAP, 10-calorie run, 10-calorie bike, 10 lunges for 30 minutes.
Nice.
And it was
All
good.
the legs.
Yeah. And you run pretty hard for 10 calories, and it's not a super long amount of time. By the time you're done, over the hour and a half, it ends up, or over the half an hour, it ends up being about a mile and a half worth of running, and
Nice.
130 calories on the bike or whatever. And it's a lot of work, but
Yeah.
to your point, it's
Yeah.
great. Like, it's different. It's a running WOD, and in Cleveland,
Yeah.
where it's 11 degrees out right now, I'm not going outside to do that.
Same
You know?
exact thing here. I really like, I don't know. I love a good like Peloton style class, like any kind of class that has like fun music and like a fun instructor. And like I did that for a long time. Like I was like a fitness instructor with like the little microphone, like the
Right.
90s Britney Spears microphone. So I like that kind of thing. And I've always wanted access to, I used to have a Planet Fitness membership all year round, $10 a month, just so I could have access to a treadmill in the wintertime here in New England. And now I just don't feel comfortable going to Global Gym with COVID. So I bit the bullet. I'll let you know how it is when it comes in.
Well, that's good stuff. Until that baby starts crawling, you better put it in a room where you have a door and you can lock him out.
It's in the basement.
Okay.
I have a basement gym, but I don't have a gym at all.
Well,
It's actually my mud room. It's not going to be cute, but
as someone who had a kid roll down basement stairs, make sure you have a door at the top of the basement. So,
I do. Yeah, I do. Or I'll just put them in like the playpen in the basement with me. But
that's a true story, by the way. When Mira was learning to crawl, and you hear boom, 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 boom.
I would lose my shit.
Oh, it was, I mean, I lost it then, but now in hindsight, even the sound in my mind is really funny, like, I mean, she's upstairs. She's fine, everyone. She made it. She's 20. She
Right. Of
survived.
course.
But yeah, in hindsight, the sound in my mind though is really like comical because it sounds like something from a cartoon. That's what it sounded like. She just rolled right down the stairs. Yeah, it's exactly what it was. And she had a big head anyway, so she's probably just bouncing that big head off the carpeted stairs the whole way down. I'm a terrible parent. It's amazing those two girls lived. Totally
I'm learning
amazing.
so much.
I know.
Well, have fun in Florida without me.
I know. Well, I'm gonna try to do a couple interviews while I'm there, and we'll get those released really quickly, and then we'll get back together and back on our regular schedule when I'm back. But I'm gonna miss you. I'm bummed.
I know I'm gonna miss
we were finally
you.
going to get some good photos together, and you're not going to be there. So
that's probably why. That's probably why this whole thing happened. The universe was like, nope, you still can't do it. Actually, no.
Yeah, universe is like, John has an actual photographer showing up for this. No. I can't let this happen.
Definitely not. Cue the Rona.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll be there. I'll be hanging out with the Innovate crew some, so you guys can come see them and a few other people. So flag me down if you're there, and I'll text you all the time, Niki.
Please do.
All right. Well, for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and we will chat with you guys soon.